So the question is how to not get nervous before you're about to perform something. It could be giving a speech, or it could be playing sports, or delivering a concert, or just giving a presentation at work, or even just talking or hanging out with someone. And the advice that I give is to always make sure that you know you're prepared enough, right, to do what you're going to do. Now, when I say that, I don't necessarily mean be totally prepared for the moment. I mean that you've been preparing for a long time, right? However old you are is however much preparation that you've had, because you bring every piece and bit of your life, every life experience, every word, every piece of food you've eaten, every thought you've ever had has now turned you into what you are, the clothes you're wearing, the way you speak, your body language, everything, right? So the more trained you've been over the course of a long period really speaks to how well you're going to do in the moment. So for example, Roger Federer, pro tennis player, world number one, said when you're feeling tired, when you're not doing well, he's talking about himself, you always have to believe that you can do it, okay? And then when you don't believe it, you'd have confidence. And when you're feeling bad, you're nervous, you're about to hit a double fault on a point that you can't lose, you have to have confidence in all the hard work you've put in up till that moment. Okay, so that's the first piece, which is a long time of training. The second piece is turning anxiety or performance anxiety into something that's actually helpful or beneficial. When you get into a stressed or fight or flight response, when your heart starts beating quickly, you get nervous, it's an awful feeling, it really is, and you might get frozen up. Eminem talks about this in the movie, semi-autobiographical movie 8 Mile. He says, I just clam up, I just slam shut, I just can't do it, right? It happens to a lot of people. Now, Eminem got to a point where that didn't happen anymore. I don't know what he did to do it, but the way I'd say to do it is to turn those fearful emotions into things that are productive and helpful. When your brain is releasing cortisol, which is the stress hormone, or so I believe it is, you can turn that into adrenaline by making yourself ready. Right? There's this acronym, FEAR, like fully, earnest, and ready, something like that, right? You turn that fear into something that is productive. You make sure you're ready to go, right? And when you end up going through a deep experience, what you often want to do when you're performing in front of somebody, right? If someone wants to see something boring or regular, they can go look at a tree. If you're there to perform something for them, a business presentation, an athletic performance, a speech, whatever, you need it to be engaging and interesting. Turn that fear into something that's helpful for you. Instead of being locked up, turn those things into something that gets you ready and pumped and ready to perform, and make sure that you're not asleep, that gets you on your toes and gets you fully active and engaged. And the third thing that will always help in calming nerves is deep breathing. Deep breathing and accepting that whatever comes of this, whatever ends up happening, will be okay, even if it's not what you wanted. The downside to positive thinking, oh, it's going to go okay, it's going to be great, that can be very helpful, but the downside is, contained within that, is needing it to be okay. And part of you always knows it might go wrong. And the part of you that knows that it might go wrong, that you might fall on your face, that you might get booed or a tomato gets thrown at you, or that you completely do badly, the part of you that knows that does not believe the positive thought. So make yourself okay with what's going to happen. Do the deep breathing. So to sum it up, 3 things. Lifetime of training, even if it's not in the specific thing. If you've only been training and acting for 5 years, but you're 25 years, that's 25 years of training you have, of being a person, of being you. And that training will serve you within it. Second thing is turning the fear and anxiety into something that's adrenaline and readiness. And the third thing is deep breathing and acceptance of what happens. And I think if you're able to actually put those 3 things together, you end up having a fantastic performance. Anyone who performs something well is going a little bit into the unknown. When you operate too much off of a script, it becomes stale, formulaic, like you're like a wind-up doll. No one wants to see that. You don't enjoy doing that. So there's always going to be an element of going into the unknown. When Federer played the Wimbledon finals in 2012, he said that after the match, he said, when I got on the court, I was nervous. And he had won Wimbledon, 5, 6 times at that point. And he said, "It's good that I was nervous because it means that I care." He won that match, by the way. So, and each of the times that he's lost, and he's primarily lost to Djokovic and Nadal, two of his biggest rivals, is because he's been playing a little bit too tight. There's something in his mind that stops him from just letting loose and really just firing away. And whenever he's become tight like that, he gets a little bit too cautious. He makes errors he normally wouldn't. His opponent senses that. They get more aggressive. It's stressful for me as a Federer fan to watch, and then fast forward 20 minutes or 2 hours, the match is over, he's shaking the guy's hand and getting this runners-up tray. And it's happened more times than I'd like for it to happen. But there's a lesson that we can all learn from it, that I can learn from it, that you can learn from it, which is to make sure that those three factors that I said are used and implemented, and know that it's always harder done than it is to say. I'm sure Federer's heard all that stuff that I said, and he's been in that position so many times. It's so hard to do it. So there's probably going to be a little bit of pain involved. It's going to take years of practice, but that's the way. And we're always planning for the long run, right? This is not, we want to do it short term now, get it done now, and then know that that skill builds and grows and increases over the course of time.